In this video, I'm going to show you how the Tcl language is integrated into Vivado and how you can use it as a beginner to script functions even when you don't know anything about the Tcl language. I'm just going to go through the process of creating a Zynq processing system that's configured but doesn't really do anything. It's just implementing the processor. So I'll go ahead and search for my Zynq. And it's a little bit frustrating to have to go through the full prep process every time you want to use the Zynq. The Zynq needs to be in every project that runs on a Zynq FPGA. It'll work if you have an RTL only project. It will implement, but you'll get a bunch of warnings saying that the processing system should be there. And so it's best practice to always implement and instantiate a processing system, even if you're not going to use it. So I'll bring it in, run block automation. That's fine. And then I don't want this to do anything. I'm not planning to use the processing system for any actual functions. So I'm going to come in here and turn off the AXI interface. I'm going to turn off the PL clock, and I'm going to fix the clock delay issues on the DDR so that those are all 0 and we don't get those warnings. And then I'm going to validate and save. And so that process, while not challenging, does get frustrating after a while. Something that you'll notice is that as I was doing each of those things, the Tcl console was writing out every action that I took. And so that's an important thing to note about Vivado, is that everything that we do using the user interface can be done by writing a Tcl command. The Tcl command is what actually does something, and the UI just properly implements the correct Tcl command. And so something that we can do is, if we don't want to go through that whole process manually, we can write a Tcl script for it. And it doesn't actually matter that I'm not skilled at writing in the Tcl language. So what we can do is we can go ahead and create a new script in whichever text editor we want. I usually use VS Code. So we can go ahead and create a new text file. We can find where we started working with the processing system. So we can come back up here, and so I said this was me creating the block design, and I in general do that manually. You can choose to script this, but I always go up here and say create block diagram and name it whatever I want manually. And so I'm going to leave that for now. And then I can come down to here to start group and copy and paste through creating the processing system and applying the board automation. That is always something that I want to do. And so I'm going to copy those and paste it into my script. I'm also going to just make this whole screen. Then we can once again come back. And these are just some warnings. So this is a note of my negative values, which I ended up fixing. So then we can ignore those and find the next section that's blue at the start group. And this is me fixing those issues and then regenerating the board layout and doing the auto route and then doing the validation. I want all of those things done automatically. And I also want to then save the board design. All right, and that's the whole thing. So now if I say save as, what I like to do is create a new folder and just call it Tcl grips and come in here, and I'll call this a Zynq only block design. And I want to save it as .tcl.tcl file. I'll save that and close that out. And now if I come up here and remove the file from the project, delete the whole thing, and then I can create a new block design, and I'll call this test TCL. So now I have my blank design, and I can come up here and go to tools and run Tcl script. And then I go up a level and find my Tcl scripts folder and run my script. You can see that I now have a fully configured Zynq processing system. I can come back here and check. You can see that I implemented each of the auto configurations. I removed my clock. I removed my AXI interfaces. And if you come to the DDR, you can see that all of my clock delays are now set to zero. And so that's all saved and implemented the way I want. And all I have to do is right click, create my wrapper, and I now have a brand new, fully ready to go wrapper for my Zynq processing system. This is, I think, really helpful even for beginners to show, one, that even if you don't know the Tcl scripting language, you can still use this console to script things that you do frequently in Vivado and that are frustrating you, that it's always the same thing, you always get the same results, but it's just taking you time to do it over and over again. You can simply copy and paste out of the Tcl console and create a script, and you can script your way through some of those frustrating things. And then as you get more and more advanced, you sort of just use it here and there and start to learn what the language is and how it can be used effectively.